All right, guys, what is up? I apologize for the minor delay there getting the show started. Just taking a few minutes to get everything shared around into all the groups that we are a part of. I would appreciate if you guys could do the same. Definitely, please like the post, share the post around. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. This is the Sweat Podcast. I am Jeremy Mason. You're watching episode 6. Coming to you on a rainy Monday night from Hartley, Delaware. We've got lots to get to today. But before we get into anything, I do want to mention one more time that since we do not have a guest coming on tonight, I will take a few moments at the end of the show to have a segment for question and answer. If you guys have any questions you would like to ask me, if you care to know my opinion or thoughts on anything pool related, go ahead and drop your questions in the comments section, and I will address as many of those as I possibly can at the end of the show. And I think it'd be a little bit of fun. I would like to be a little bit more engaged with you guys on the podcast. I apologize for not being able to do that all the time. We've had some pretty busy times here in the pool world, both locally and around the country with the professional scene. So much more of the same coming up. Although a little bit of a kind of calm before the storm here locally with tournaments on the weekends, but that is about to change, as you guys will see. So we will get right into it here with the local recap for this week. We started out the week with a little bit of action. Tariq El-Mala versus Ben Davis at the home of John Castro. Shout out to Castro for hosting some matches at his place. It's been fun. I actually got to play him the week before. But Tuesday night, Tariq El-Mala versus Ben Davis. They played 10 ball, call shot, call safe on the big table. And neither player really had their A game. I was actually there streaming with the Sweat. I did commentary for the first part of the match and then had to get home, and it was getting a little bit late. But the action's there if you guys would like to check out any of the footage from that. Ben was able to come away with the W. Hill actually ended up being a pretty good finish there. Neither player really had their A game. Neither guy ever really got in stroke the entire time. I think Ben maybe just a hair tougher. I think there was a little bit of a stretch there for Tariq where he really struggled and was kind of out of it. Although he did kind of get it back together a little bit at the end, at least mentally, even though the stroke wasn't quite there for him. So that's how the week started here locally. Then Wednesday night at Delmarva, they've been having their 8-ball tournament, race to 2 on both sides every week. Been getting great turnouts for that. This week, 20 players. First place, Andrew Worcester, undefeated. Second, Brandon Halverson made a nice run back through the B side, I believe. Charles Hudson was in the hot seat match, went 2 and out from there, so finished third place. Nice finish for him. Fourth place, Mike McMillian. And actually, Mike and Brandon, I believe, had really dominated this tournament for a while. And then, you know what happens. The tournaments start getting a little bit popular. Some of the better players start coming around. And Mike hasn't been in the winner's circle here for a little while, but there he is with the 4th place finish right there at the end there. So 5th, 6th, Larry Sipple and Rick Veller. Real strong top 6 there. That is not an easy tournament. So you guys want something fun to do in the middle of the week and you're in the area, that is only about 20 minutes from Delaware Beaches, 25 minutes or so from Ocean City, Maryland. Definitely check out Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar on a Wednesday night. Just a $15 entry, playing 8-ball, races to 2. Really fun tournament. So that was Wednesday. Friday, once again at Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar, we had 23 players. That is my tournament. The live stream can be found on the Sweat by Jeremy Mason. First, second, third shop. John Cole had the hot seat. John Hussey lost the hot seat match. Dustin Bunning back through on the B side after losing in the Final Four winner side round. 4th place, Brandon Foster. 5th, 6th, Pompey Pamplona, and myself. Friday night at Puckett's Tavern in Newcastle, Delaware. 27 players. Tough field, and Tariq El-Mala bouncing back. A little bit of redemption from that match that he had on Tuesday night. Followed that up with a undefeated run through a really tough bracket at Pockets. Ended up chopping first and second with Derek Benavides. 3rd place, Matt Craw. 4th place, Al Campo. 5th, 6th, Josh Brothers and Thomas Allen. Nothing easy there. So shout out to Tariq and Derek, of course. Friday 9-ball chip tournament at South Jersey Billiards. There was over $3K in the prize pool for a Friday night tournament. Not bad. First place, Anthony Bilger. Second, Tony Rudy. Tony always does real well in his tournament there, and with the the least amount of chips that you can have at that tournament. Not easy to do, so shout out to him. Second place. Third place, Barry West. Sunday 8-ball chip tournament, once again, South Jersey Billiards, over $2K in the prize pool. First place, Scott DeVecchio. Second place, Chaz Adams. Third place, Pat Haley. And that is it. Everything I have for your weekly tournaments. I actually do not have results from Chop Tank Saturday tournament. I apologize for that exclusion. I think that's 2 weeks in a row I have made that mistake. I do believe John Moody Jr. was your champion, and I know that Lucas Kilgore had an amazing second place finish in a big, I think like 38 player field or something. So shout out to Lucas. Great job, buddy. He's been playing really well. And here, another weekend where Lucas Kilgore and Joshua Muhammad both cash in a big tournament. So great job, Lucas. Sayonara Valleys at the Green Turtle in Bel Air, Maryland. Brian and Lai, BNL Billiards tournaments. They had an 11-11 and under Scotch doubles tournament. I actually don't know if that was 8, 9, or 10. I apologize for not having that in front of me. 23 teams, over $3,500 in the Calcutta. That's a great prize fund there. First place, Carl Vester and Dave Zacina. Second place, Wayne Everhart and Mike Cooper. Third place, Nick Spriggs and James Wiley. Fourth place, Todd Michael and Jordan Murray. Fifth, sixth, Josh Muhammad with Lai Lee. And a couple local players, Ben Davis and Andrea Thomas. Great shooting, guys. Nice tournament once again from Brian and Lai. And as you heard in the title there, Sayonara Valleys, the Diamond Tables will be in for the next tournament that they run there at the Green Turtle in Bel Air, Maryland. There was a Scotch doubles 8-ball tournament at Bell's Sports Bar and Grill. I believe that is in Frederick, Maryland. That is Sarah Evans and Rachel Ray with David Mason running those tournaments out there. They had 28 teams. Nice tournament, guys. Three-way split. Rick Winpigler and his buddy Earl Nichols had the hot seat. Ryan Jones and Bobby Adams. Antonio Reyes and Ismail Aguilar, your other top three teams there. Fourth place, Joe Stem and Nemo. Once again, always hanging out near the top. Nice job, Sarah Evans. Once again, there was a benefit tournament for a gentleman who goes by the name of Cricket up at the Riverboat Saloon in Burnville, PA. I believe the gentleman is fighting cancer, and this was a benefit tournament put on by LBS Championship Pool. I believe that is... I know Jeff Greener is associated with them. I don't want to say for sure offhand who LBS Championship Pool belongs to, but I know that Jeff Greener is associated with them. I'll try to get more information on that. I've just seen a couple posts from them, and I know it's a bunch of names that we know up there doing good things. So they were able to raise well over their intended goal of $2,000 for the gentleman and his family. And so... hang in there, Cricket. We're pulling for you. First place, Jason Kochenauer. Second place, Lance Fessler. Third place, Scott Ford. Fourth place, Daniel Spatz. That was all of your local tournament action. As far as I know, I apologize if I excluded anybody this week. I know Joe Norton Tournaments took a week off to get ready for the big one coming up next week, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But there was more action. Mike Holly versus myself, Jeremy Mason, up at Z-Hob Productions. Big shout out to the Z-Hob guys. Can't thank Chris Zook enough for hosting the event or the match. Mike Holly was a gentleman. I remembered him being when I met him at the expo. And we've been trying to play this match for a while. I did not play well, and he did not play well. It was definitely a bit of a pillow fight for the first half of the match. I was fortunate to lead by a score of 8-7 at that point, and it seemed like the match was just going to be a matter of which one of us kind of snapped out of it first, and that happened to be Mike. I never really found my game for the day, and Mike actually played pretty well down the stretch. He won 8 of the last 9 games there, and by the end of it, he was looking real strong, real confident, playing a lot closer to the game that I know he has. So shout out to Mike Hawley. Nice 15-9 win over myself. And once again, thanks to Chris Zook. Thanks to Jamie Gerber for being there, helping out with the commentary. And if you guys do not follow ZHob Productions on Facebook, make sure you go ahead and do that. They provide a great live stream whenever there's action up there. Matt Craw versus Derek Dea at Brobst Saloon Billiards. Brobst Saloon Billiards back in action. We had a match a couple weeks ago, but kind of been out of it for a little while there. I obviously could not be there. I was up in Pennsylvania playing. But Dave and Steve and Eric were, of course, there running the live stream. Matt Craw and Derek Dea, they played 9-ball races to 9, best 2 out of 3. Best 3 out of 5. Matt came away with the win in the first set, led really big. It got a little bit closer, but I think Matt won 9-5 in the first set. And then Derek seemed like he kind of got his feet under him, got a feel for the room, got a little bit comfortable, and won 9-5 in the second set, 9-2 in the third set, and 9-3 in the fourth set. Put on a little bit of a show. And those guys have battled several times on several occasions here in recent memory. A couple times up at ZHob Productions, like we just mentioned. And now here this was Derek Dea's first time at Brobst Saloon Billiards. And of course, he had nothing but nice things to say about the beautiful home of Eric Brobst and the pool room in the basement there in his post-match interview. You can find that at Brobst Saloon Billiards on Facebook. Watch all that action. It was pretty great action. I'm drinking a little bit of tea here, guys. I was playing with my son after work and kind of growling at him, and it hurt my throat a little bit. I wasn't really thinking about the fact that I had to go live tonight, so there's that. That concludes your local weekend wrap-up from last week. Like I said, not a lot of tournaments going on for the last couple weekends in the area, but much more coming your way. This next weekend coming up, I made a post today. A lot of you guys probably saw that. Starts a long stretch of huge tournaments back to back to back in our immediate area. Starting out this week, of course, with the second annual Old Line State Bar Box Classic. That is a Joe Norton Tournaments event at Center Pocket in Bowie, Maryland. The stream will be split Friday and Sunday. Joe Norton will be handling the stream. You guys can find information for his stream at Joe Norton Tournaments or on Joe Norton's personal page on Facebook. I don't, off the top of my head, know exactly how you find his stream, but I know if you look at his page, you can find that information. And Jennifer Benton Boxwell will be your on-air personality for the stream on Friday and Sunday, with several special guests coming on to help out. So that'll be fun to watch, guys. I believe Friday is 8-ball and Sunday is Scotch doubles, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, I will be there Saturday and Monday. I'm not even playing in the events. I'm just going there to live stream, bring you guys the action. Saturday is open 9-ball. Monday, Labor Day, is open 10-ball. And so that's going to be a great show. I actually believe I have a soft commitment already from Russ Redhead. He's going to hop in the booth with me, hang out whenever he can. I'm sure I'll have other guys as well. So you guys are not going to want to miss that. It's going to be great. And Joe Norton does a great job. This is pretty much the biggest event of the year that Joe Norton does as far as singles goes. This is just a big open event. He doesn't do a lot of open events. He doesn't do a lot of singles events, but this is the one. You don't want to miss it. I think he still has spots available in every division. So if you are interested in playing, make sure you guys get on and contact Joe Norton and prepay for your spot so that you aren't charged a late fee if you try to get in at the last second. And it actually may be too late. I don't know. You'll have to check his page out for the details on that. But that is going to be a great event all 4 days. You're not going to want to miss it. So that is this weekend. The following weekend, September 11th through 12th, Maryland State Amateur Championships, 8-ball. That is $6.99 and below at Chop Tank Bowling and Billiards in Cambridge, Maryland. That is an On the Hill Productions event. You can find the stream for that at On the Hill Productions on YouTube. And I believe I will be there playing, and I would imagine I'll probably be doing some commentary with Dave and Josh and the guys. So you guys are not going to want to miss that. And if you would like to play, get in contact with Lloyd Bulliard or Rick Scarlato Jr. You can also search On the Hill Productions on Facebook, find the event. And actually, guys, if you want to play in any of these events that I'm mentioning right now, you can just scroll down on my page. I made a post earlier, and I believe there's a link to every one of these events on that. You just click on the name of the event, and it'll take you right to the event page on Facebook. And, of course, you can find information in the descriptions of those events to instruct you on how to go about getting on the roster for whichever event you would like to play in. So that is September 11th and 12th, amateur 8-ball at Choptank. The following weekend, September 18th through 19th, huge BNL first annual 2021 Fargo Open 9-ball championship. Capped at 128 players. That is already full. There is already about 13, 14 players on the waiting list. Great job by Brian and Lai. That will be at the Bank Shot Bar and Grill in Laurel, Maryland. I will be streaming. So looking forward to that. September 25th through 26th is the Maryland State Bar Table 8-ball Championships. That is the open version of it. The one at Choptank is, of course, $6.99 and below amateur. And the 25th and 26th is the open 8-ball championship on the bar table at Brews and Q's on the Boulevard, once again on the Hill Productions event. I believe the same weekend, I don't have it on my list here, if I'm not mistaken, September 25th and 26th is also Dynaspheres Junior. I think 9-ball, not sure off the top of my head, but that'll be going on as well. If you have a junior that would like to play in that, contact Jake Lawson, Josh Sitterfield, or look at BSN on Facebook, or type in Dynaspheres in your search bar on Facebook, and the event should pop up right in your search bar there. October 2nd and 3rd, first annual Delmarva Billiards Club Championship. That is a Jeremy Mason Pool Tournaments event streamed by The Sweat by Jeremy Mason at Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar in Dagsboro, Delaware. 2-day event, capped at 64 players. That is 9-ball. Contact me if you would like to play. I already have about 44, 45 players signed up for that. It is capped at 64, so make sure you do not stall, do not hesitate to sign up for that. I believe it will fill very quickly, and we're going to have a great time. So, and if you guys have not got a chance yet to get over to the newly revamped Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar in Dagsboro, Delaware, they have 8 brand new blue labeled diamond bar boxes. They have Predator Arcos 2 balls on every single table. And by then, they will have a fully ready to go kitchen, brand new, with a full restaurant menu. So it's going to be great. You guys aren't going to want to miss that one. So like I said, I think that's about 6 weeks in a row, starting this weekend with the Old Line State Classic. Major events coming up. And I believe also October 2nd and 3rd, the heck is Steve's name? Steve Fleming commented on my post earlier that also October 2nd and 3rd, there is a Scotch doubles tournament at Brews and Q's. I believe that is full already. That's being run by, I think, one of the ladies, a couple of the ladies, Nicole Nestor and my girl. Her name's going to slip my mind, and I'm going to feel like a jerk, so I apologize for that. That's it for the upcoming local schedule. I apologize if I did not mention your event coming up this weekend. Of course, Choptank Bowling and Billiards will have their weekly handicap 9-ball event on Saturday, so you can check that out if you would like. Moving right along, the Texas Open was this past week. Huge tournament, awesome pro-level event. There was 3 divisions, 1 pocket, Open 9-ball, and the women's 9-ball. The 1 pocket had 32 players. And the prize fund for each of these events, the open, the 1 pocket, obviously, and the Open 9-ball were ridiculous. 1 pocket, Dennis Orcolio, undefeated. Second place, Josh Roberts. Nice job by Josh. Maybe some of you guys don't even know who Josh Roberts is. I actually have had the pleasure of watching Josh Roberts play on several occasions, online actually. But the live stream for this, by the way, was Pool Action TV. Once again, I keep telling you guys almost every week, you want to check out Pool Action TV. They're bringing you great PPVs almost every week. And they have a 6-month pass you can purchase for $120 that renews for $100. And it is worth every penny because they are bringing you action on a weekly basis between the challenge matches and some of these big tournaments. So once again, second place, Josh Roberts. Third place, Shane Van Boening. And I don't think we're too far here from having to include Shane Van Boening in this this top 5 one pocket players conversation that's been going around on Facebook with the Booth brothers and Molina Mike. I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen him play a big money match, so there's that. He says he doesn't really care to, so there's that. But Shane Van Boening, third place here and winner about a month ago at the Midwest Expo in a tough field. And this was a crazy field here. This field this week was 32, probably the deepest one pocket field I've seen since I've been really paying attention. So fourth place, Tony Chowan. Starting to get some better results in tournaments. A lot widely regarded as one of the top 5 one pocket players in the world, and doesn't really have the tournament results to back it up all the time. But he's starting to play better in these short race tournaments. Fourth place here, and I think he got third or something like that at the last big one pocket tournament. So something to watch there. We'll see if he can continue to get better at these short races. 5th, 6th, Scott Frost, Corey Deuel. 7th, 8th, Jeremy Seaman, Omar Al-Shaheen. Open 9-ball, 156 players. Your champion, Shane Van Boening. So great week for Shane Van Boening. First in the 9-ball, third in the one pocket. Second place, Dennis Rocollo. So great week for Dennis. Second in the 9-ball and first in the one pocket. Third place, Roland Garcia. And he's been playing out of his mind. Probably the hottest Filipino right now. Other than Dennis, of course, but Roland, couple real high finishes, second place to Shane at that one pocket tournament that we just mentioned, and just playing really well. Fourth place, Sky Woodward, real deep run for Sky once again. Seems to do well in this 9-foot, 9 on the spot format, although no indication of that in the match that we just watched between him and Carlo Beato. But 5th, 6th, Tony Chowan and Jeffrey Ignacio. Jeffrey Ignacio, one of my favorite Filipino players to watch. Great run from him. And then Tony Chowan, 5th place here. Great week for him. 5th place in the 9-ball, 4th place in the one pocket. And quietly, Tony Chowan playing some really good rotation right now. A couple really high finishes. Just won a big tournament in Louisiana, I believe it was, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. And a high finish here in the 9-ball and pretty high finish at the Midwest Expo in the 9-ball. So Tony Chowan coming on real strong with the rotation games here. 7th, 8th, Jesus Atencio and Naoki Oi. As you can see, this field was ridiculous, by the way. 9th through 12th, John Mora, who's been playing as well as anybody. Carlo Beato, who just saw tortured Sky in that race to 150. Edgy Geronimo. Another Filipino player there, and Evan Lunda, I believe a younger player there, also a good one pocket player. So I just wrote down the top 12 here for that event, but absolutely monstrous 156 player 9-ball field. So really nice finishes for all these guys I just mentioned there. And I believe junior player Lazaro Martinez finished in the cash, I think maybe T17. It might have been T13. So great run for him. That was your open 9-ball division. The women's division, 32 players. First place, undefeated, Allison Fisher. Second place, Courtney Peters. Third place, Sakura Muramatsu. Fourth, Chris Fields. And 5th, 6th, Gail Eaton and Jennifer Kraber. So the news this weekend, or the Facebook drama of this weekend, a Facebook post after his elimination from the 9-ball division here at the Texas Open, Corey Deuel made a Facebook post. I'm going to read it for you guys. It said, "What do players think about having international players get seeded into one side of the bracket and Americans seeded to the other side? This would help for rankings. I've seen this done in other countries. Seems to work great. What do you guys think?" Now, first of all, I'll say I don't think this is a good idea, but Corey got torched on Facebook for this. Melina Mike shared the post and, kind of let him have it. Everybody was basically like, no, we don't think that's a good idea. We think you should just probably practice more if you want good results. So it was kind of interesting to watch there. And Corey was, to my surprise, Corey was actually really patient with the whole thing. If you read through the comment threads, he kind of had time to respond to everybody and have a good conversation about it. Didn't really seem to get too defensive about it, what everybody was saying to him. But he seems to think it's a good idea, but that's Corey. He's got some ideas. He always has. I don't think this is a good idea. I think it's ridiculous. I think in 2021, when the rest of the world is trying to do everything that they can to kind of put segregation behind us and any kind of ethnic divisions behind us, this is not something that we need. And I don't think all the international players playing in these events, making them much tougher, is a bad thing. I think it's more fun to watch as from a viewer's perspective when the best players are playing late in the tournaments. I don't need to see an American player if they're not the ones that are playing the best. Now, that being said, this particular tournament, this tournament that Corey is making this comment following, final 6 players: Shane Van Boening, Sky Woodward, and Tony Chowan. 3 American players, and of course 3 international players, 3 all Filipinos: Dennis Rocolio, Roland Garcia, and Jeffrey Ignacio. So, 3 and 3. I guess we don't need to do that. Maybe just, as Corey's saying, sometimes the draw really dictates what happens. He's like, I could go months and months without losing to an American player, and then I'm ranked. Next thing I know, I'm ranked 7th in America. Well, the other guys may not have been playing Americans the entire time either, but they did better with with what they had. So, and as you can see here, 3 Americans in the top 6, including your champion, Shane Van Boening. So, by the way, I wonder how much more a great rotation we have to see from Tony Chowan before we start thinking about him a little bit for the Mosconi Cup. I don't know. That's the first I've ever heard anybody mention that thought. So maybe you guys can let me know what you think about that. But I don't know. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's had 3 top 5s in big tournaments playing 9-ball and 10-ball here in the last couple months. So that's more than we could say for Tyler or Chris Reinhold, although Tyler did have the big 3rd place finish at the Brendan Crockett Memorial. So I don't know, just a thought. But so Corey said, fewer Americans, this is in the comments, of course, if you read all the way through these threads. Corey said fewer Americans can afford to play professionally because of all these international players coming over to get all the money. Yeah, that may be true. But there hasn't been a great money scene for the professional pool player in America as far as tournament play goes anyways, and it's better now than it ever has been. The reason all these players are here is because there's great events back to back to back to back with money added all the time. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon, Corey. And I think if you really are upset about it, you should probably play more pool and less golf. Now, I'm not saying I blame you. I love golf, and I think you've done plenty in your career. I think you're a Hall of Famer for sure already. Actually, Corey may already be a Hall of Famer, so that was dumb. But and again, no beef with Corey here. I think I don't think anybody agrees with you. All right, moving on. The Junior International Championships, that is Rahana's Junior Tour there. Stop number 7 in Ohio this weekend, the Pro-Am. Anybody that does not know, when they say Pro-Am for the JIC, they mean anybody over the age of 18, but I think under the age of 22 can play in that. So your Pro-Am, 33 players. Champion, Joey Tate. Runner-up, Zayden Leary. Excuse me. I'm just going to run through these real quick, guys. There's about 5 divisions to get to. 3rd place, Landon Hollingsworth, still playing really well. Excuse me. 4th place, Riley Adkins. 5th, 6th, Cash Keaton and Nathan Childress. 7th, 8th, Ivo Lincoln and Jacob Cole. Strong finishes by all those young men, and really no surprises there. Those are names that we are all familiar with if you follow the junior pool scene in the country. So 18 and under boys, 44 players. That's an awesome field. 1st place, Joey Tate. 2nd place, Nathan Childress. 3rd place, Ivo Lincoln. 18U girls, 12 players. Winner, Sophia Mast. 2nd place, Courtney Harefield. Third place, Priscilla Kinsley. 13U boys, 18 players. Winner, Trayshawn Bia. D'Angelo Jaws, Spain, local player there, finishes second. Great job, Jaws. And third place, Jace Alton. 13 and under girls, 8 players in that division. Winner, Sophia Masters. So Sophia with the double dip there wins the 18U, wins the 13U. Skylar Hess, second. Great job, Sky. And Skylar and Sophia seem like they play each other about 3 times a week in these things. So I'll be interested to see how long that rivalry lasts. I think they're both like, I don't know, 13 years old, 12 years old, something like that. So we might be watching those two battle for a long time. And Noel Tate in third place. So that is your look around the country. Lots going on there. So quick what to watch here. Like I said, there's a lot coming up on the local amateur scene. There's a lot coming up on the professional scene. Predator Pro Series, Diamond Las Vegas Open. If I hope I'm saying that right. It's a little confusing because it was a tournament last year, the Diamond Las Vegas Open, and then this year I believe it is just included in this U.S. Pro Billiards Series put on by CSI and Predator. So I believe that will be the second stop in this series of pro events by CSI, and that is the ones that will be raced to 4, best 2 out of 3, and then of course the tiebreaker is a spot shot shootout. So very exciting format. Look forward to watching that. That is coming up September 1st through the 4th. And then right after, a couple of weeks after that, September 13th through 18th, this is the big one, guys. We've got the U.S. Open presented by Matchroom. You can find footage for this on the DAZN app in America and elsewhere. Check out Sky Sports if you have access to that. This is September 13th through 18th, Haraz Resort in Atlantic City. Looking forward to that. Can't wait. Of course, we've announced it every week, but we have Alex versus Tony coming up. One pocket. Tony getting 9-8. That's a race to 36 over 4 days, I believe. So race to 9 each day. And then the Omega Diamond Open, September 28th through October 3rd, several divisions there. So, and I think there's Omega, of course, Omega will be providing the pay-per-view for that. So lots more great professional action coming up to watch, guys. I'm looking forward to it. That is your what to watch. That's everything I wanted to get to for today, guys. We're going to do this question and answer really quick. I have not been looking so far. Let's see. Let's get to some of these questions. All right. Brian Kilgore says, question for the end. What are your thoughts on Calcutta and tournament payouts transparency, the timeline in which they should be posted, how they should be posted, breakdowns, etc. This has been a hot topic about what's actually taken out and why, but I believe the transparency in posting the actual payouts is incredibly important. There's a reason for this question. Okay, so for me, I think that if you are the tournament director, if there's a Calcutta, and obviously there's payouts for the tournament. For me, first of all, on the flyer, when you are announcing your event, it should say whatever money is being taken out. If you're taking a greens fee, it needs to be on there. If you're taking 10% of the Calcutta, that needs to be on there. If it's 100% payout, go ahead, say that. That's a great advertising point. Whatever you're doing, go ahead, do it, own it. But be honest about it and upfront about it, and the players should know what they're getting into before they get there on tournament day. So that's one. Two, as soon as you are done with the draw, your very next priority should be sitting down, counting the money, making sure everything's right, and getting your payouts done. And that should be posted well before the first round of matches is over, in my opinion. If I'm playing an event that I'm running, that I have a Calcutta for, I will make sure that I hold my match until after I can get those payouts posted. at least written down. Even if I don't have them posted, I'll have them written down on my notebook and sitting there for anybody to come by and look at if they want. It should all be up front, above the table. And I think this is obvious. I don't think this is something that anybody should need to be told. This is just common decency as a human being and a tournament director. You should be honest and upfront and open. There should be nothing that you are doing that any player in the tournament or anybody else online following the tournament should not be able to have access to if they need it. That's my thoughts on that. And I mean, there are some very minor exceptions to that. Sometimes on my Friday night tournament, if it's a funky bracket or if there's not a huge field and I have to play my match pretty much right away as soon as the tournament starts, it is in my head the entire time that I need to get those payouts done and sorted out as soon as I possibly can. And for the bigger tournaments, no exceptions. Calcutta, I'm getting those payouts done before I do anything else. That's just what I think about that. It's a great question, Brian. Adam Frank says, with Jason Shaw living stateside for years now, should he still be on Team Europe? That's a good question. I think so. I mean, here's the thing. He's not going to be allowed to play for USA, right? So, I mean, he's European. Let him play for Europe. But, I mean, we have to be careful with that, though. I mean, like, I guess it's what the player wants, right? If he's from, you know, in this case, the UK, like Jason Shaw, or Scotland, I guess, maybe like Jason Shaw, and he wants to be identified as European, then who's anybody else to tell him that he's not? I mean, what about Jesus Atencio? Is from, I believe, Venezuela, but he lives in Florida full time. He has, I think, for a long time, maybe almost even most of his life. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can correct me on that if I'm mistaken. But is he an American player? I don't think so. I think he's Venezuelan. Alex Pagulayan, he says he's Canadian. He's born in the Philippines. Are you going to go tell him he's not Canadian? Have fun with that. I don't. Jason Shaw, I mean, if you can listen to the guy talk and know exactly where he's from, I mean, what are you going to do? And besides that, like, can you imagine a European team at this point without Jason Shaw on it? Like, we've talked a couple times about how the most of the European team is pretty much locks for this year. And but like Jason Shaw is the one guy, like, even though there's other guys sometimes that are playing better, like Jason Shaw, even though he's not very old, is like team dad. I mean, he's got to be there. It's a major part of that team and major part of the storyline, you know, with the whole, you know, snakes in the grass last year. He's the guy that gets it going. He's the guy that stirs it up and makes you kind of want to beat those guys. I mean, Albin Ocean is a great player, but what is he going to do that's going to be like, oh, I got to beat that guy? You know what I mean? Like, Jason Shaw is the reason why I want Team Europe to go down. And then that's not anything against Jason Shaw at all. It's just, the guy's got to be on Europe. Let's see, what else do we have here? Adam says, another question to play on Brian's question. What is your take on tournament directors participating in the Calcutta with director set handicaps? I could see how people would have a problem with it. I could see how people would have a problem with it if the tournament director makes a handicap for someone and then is bidding on that person in the Calcutta and they are not at the top of the rankings. I mean, that seems fishy right offhand. I don't believe, I hope I'm not wrong on this, but I don't believe I have ever run a tournament where I had a Calcutta in a tournament that was handicapped. So it's not an issue that I've really had at the forefront of my mind. I know I've seen other people questioning that various times over the past few months. I think if you're a TD and you want to do that, you better be very careful about it. You better know that, like, that is going to raise eyebrows for sure. Now, if it's Fargo, if you're using Fargo, yeah, I mean, it's not a rating system that you're in control of, so I don't think that's any issue there. So yeah, I would say that. I think if it's the tournament director setting the rankings and then bidding, I would not. If I had my own ranking system and I was running a Calcutta on a handicap tournament with that ranking system, I would not bid on anybody in the Calcutta that was not an A player. That's just me. Nikki Biondo says, should a tournament director partake in their own Calcutta? Yeah, in general, I have no problem with tournament director participating in their own Calcutta, as long as, like, for me, like, the breakdown for the Calcutta is not something that I make up on the spot or come up off the top of my head. I could tell you right now, if I run a tournament next week, if I have, you can insert whatever number of players I have. I'm going to pay as close to 25% of the field as I can. And those percentages for the payouts are already made up. If I'm paying 6, which is a very common payout structure, I'm going to pay 40% the first, 25% the second, 15% the third, 10% to fourth, and 5% each to fifth and sixth. And those numbers don't have to be exactly what your numbers are, but that's what it is for me. You have to find a structure you like, and it shouldn't change week to week, tournament to tournament. If you have a structure and you think it's the right way to do it, then do it. Don't just make this up on the spot, because you're setting yourself up to get questioned by your participants. Let's see what else. I know there was a lot more questions in here. I'm not really seeing all of the comments here as I look down. Maybe I can look on my computer. I know there was more. I saw there was a couple at the beginning that I'm not seeing right here. Let's go all the way up to the top. These are good questions, guys. I appreciate it. By the way, Lai says she believes the Dinosphere Juniors is the weekend of October 2nd and 3rd. That may be correct. I'm not sure, so I appreciate that, Lai. Adam says, when are you going to start your next side hustle of billiards for setting up gambling matches? That's actually funny, because 5 minutes before I went live today, I had a gentleman in my inbox asking me to find him some action, and I believe I made a game for him for next Wednesday. So that's something I've been doing for a while. I don't really advertise to people that I can do that, but people just generally know that I have a pretty good network. I have a pretty good idea of where people stand in rankings, whether that be Fargo or just how guys match up locally. And the thing is, like, if you know player A matches up well with player B, and you may not know player C, but player B matched up with player D, and player D, you can kind of figure out what a good matchup's going to be here and there. And so I have been able to make a lot of matchups for guys over the last couple of years. And, every couple of days I have somebody texting me, trying to see if I can get them good action. And I don't think anybody has ever asked me to find them a match that I have not. And actually, somebody just popped into my head when I said that. Mike Morris I think he lives in Milford. He's about a APA 6 and 9 ball or whatever. He asked me to find him a matchup, and I know for a fact I did not find him a matchup. And as soon as that came out of my mouth, that popped into my head. So Mike Morris, I'm going to message you when I'm done with this live stream, and we're going to see if we can get you some action because I feel bad now. But yeah, Adam, it has not been a side hustle. I've never made a dime doing that. I don't know. To me, I think there's a lot of guys out there in the pool industry that seem to be a little bit unapproachable. They seem like they don't have time to, talk to people, and that. Not everybody, but there's guys out there that seem like they're too big to make time. Look, I have a great network, and if I can do something to help somebody out in the pool world, I'm happy to do it. Don't need to make money to do it. Lai says Tina Morfessis. Yeah, Tina, sorry. That is the other lady who set up the Scotch Doubles tournament at Brews and Q's for the weekend of the 2nd and 3rd, I believe. And Steve says there are still a few players on that list that are looking for partners. Richard Grun says, love the setup. Thanks for that, Rich. I appreciate you. Steve Fleming says his last name is Fleming. That's hilarious. Sorry about that, buddy. Adam Frank, do you feel the chop has become too standard? I'm not a fan of a chop when it comes to a tournament that's being live streamed. That being said, there's exceptions. I run a tournament every Friday at Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar. We typically get done right at 2 o'clock when we have to. Sometimes we don't have time to finish. That was the case this last week. A couple matches really held us up, and we weren't able to finish, even though the field wasn't that big. And we did a 3-way chop. I hated it. The guy in the hot seat hated it. He really wanted a chance to try to win the tournament. So there's that. I don't mind it for a weekly event. It's a weeknight. I think go ahead, chop it up. I don't mind it if it's a smaller tournament and you happen to run into a good buddy at the end of it. Chop it up. But I think if there's a live stream, then maybe you should consider playing it out, even if you are in a spot where you'd rather not. You should think about everybody else in that spot, I think. But we've also seen cases where it's a Sunday tournament or a 2-day tournament and it gets done at a ridiculous hour on Sunday, late into the night, Sunday night. Guys have to work Monday morning. I can understand it. Maybe not always ideal for viewing, but I have a hard time making too many arguments against it when the situation calls for it. Adam, at what age do you believe players are in their prime? I hope it's like late 30s, early 40s, because I got a late start and I'm 31. So I'm hoping like this isn't my prime. I want to get a lot better. So that's how I'm going to answer that. I don't know. I would say it definitely depends player to player. I think it depends when you started. I think it depends what kind of physical shape you're in. I think it depends on your family life a lot. I think there's a lot of guys that are in their are getting ready to go into their prime at 25, 26, and then they start a family and they quit playing for 20 years and they miss their prime. If we're talking about professional players, I think we've seen that you can hit your prime late. I think Sky Woodward is hitting his prime. And maybe somebody out there can help me with how old Sky is. I don't know off the top of my head, but I have a feeling he's a little bit older than what we generally say is prime age for a pool player. So, and then there's guys that are exceptions. Like, it seems like Ralph Souquet is going to be able to play at a high level forever. So, I mean, maybe his whole career was a prime. I don't know. If you had made me pick a number, I would say it's close to basically everything else. I would think... So later than most of your like physical sport activities, but earlier than a lot of other, things in life. I would say probably late 20s, early 30s would probably be prime. But it depends on game too. I mean, you could see the games that are more about moving and less about pocketing balls and eyesight. I would say probably later, because information is everything. And as long as you could still physically get around the table and have the mental capacity and energy to be engaged for a long period of time at a high level, then I would say the more knowledge that you can have in certain games, the better off you are. So I think that would make it later as well. Richard Grund, will I ever get myself for $20 ever again? Yes, we have a optional side pot on Friday nights at Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar, so you can get yourself for $20 there. If you're referring to a Calcutta, that's a dumb question. Steve Fleming says Joe Norton has actually waived the late fees for signups for the Old Line Classic. So you guys go ahead and make sure you jump in that. Let's fill it up. There's spots available for all 4 divisions, to my understanding. Adam says, as a tournament director, do you believe 9-ball is better handicapped by ball spot or game spot? There's a couple different ways to look at this. So I used to run a weekly event on Wednesday nights out of Milford Billiards, and before that out of Georgetown Billiards, and it was spot ball handicapped. So if you were 2 skill levels above the guy you were playing, you'd be spotting him the 7. If you were 3 skill levels above the guy you were playing, you'd be spotting him the 6. At Georgetown, we went all the way down to the 6 being the biggest spot, and at Milford, and before that, at the Slate Cafe, Joe Daniels did the same thing. They went all the way down to the 5-ball, being the biggest spot. So that was a spot ball handicap. The benefits of that are you can shorten the races on the B side easier. If I'm doing a game spot handicap for a tournament, for a weekly event, it's a nighttime start, and we have to get it done in a certain amount of time. It's way easier to do a ball spot because you can just go race to 5, race to 3 still, like you would for probably an open event on a night tournament. But there's downside to it too. I think it's less beneficial for the lower level players in the long run. In the short run, it gives them probably a better chance to win. But in the long run, I think it does less to teach them the game of pool the right way. Yeah, the same problem I have with APA with the ball count. You don't learn the importance of finishing a rack and closing out a rack, and you'll end up having problems in that area. So I think that's a big deal. I also don't think anybody should ever lose a game of pool on like a 1-6 combo. Like, I get it's great to make a handicap with someone just so you can get a game, but to me, like, we're playing 9-ball. You should probably make the 9-ball to win the game. So I'm I'm a fan of a game spot. Also, with the advent of Fargo, there's no way to give good results to Fargo for a ball spot tournament. You can, if you're handicapping a tournament with a game spot, as long as you're putting the actual score into the bracket. So in other words, if I'm playing Susie Carmichael, who is a 3, and it's a 7-3 race, and she beats me by a score of 3-5, you have to put 3-5 in the bracket, because that's how many games she won. That's how many games I won. And then those results can go to Fargo, I think everybody knows that I firmly believe that Fargo is great for the game of pool, and we need to be getting as many tournament results into Fargo rate as we possibly can. We're playing catch up in this area in that regard. There's a lot of guys jumping on board with that a little bit late. Late is better than never. So that's important to me. And that's, if I had no other way to make that decision as a tournament director, I would make it on that. I would, if I didn't care either way, game spot, ball spot, I would choose game spot, because I want to give results to Fargo. Adam says, who would you most like to take actual lessons from on the pro scene? That's a really good question. I can't say that I have actually thought about this a lot. I've never taken a lesson. I've certainly picked up tips here and there from people. I've learned a lot from YouTube, a lot from professional commentary. To me, I care way more about the patterns and, the right way to play a shot than, my fundamentals. I think that kind of stuff I can work on my own. Most of the time, the things that I'm doing wrong, I know I can go back and look at footage of myself and figure out what I'm doing wrong. But if I wanted a lesson, it would be in that regard. So I would like to talk to somebody that plays the best patterns. I'd like to take a bar table 8-ball lesson with Corey Deuel. And maybe that would be my pick. Maybe I'd say I'd take a bar table 8-ball lesson from Corey Deuel. The only other thing I'd say is I'd love to start learning the game of one pocket at some point. I know a little bit. And probably Jeremy Jones. I mean, Jeremy, I'd love to meet Jeremy and pick his brain about a lot of things, commentary and a lot of stuff. I have a ton of respect for Jeremy. And from what I understand, he's a great teacher. He's great at breaking the game down. So I would say that would be my other answer, would be Jeremy Jones. Adam Frank says, John Moody Sr. won Chop Tank on Saturday. I apologize for that mistake. Nice win for John. We haven't seen great results for Senior there at Chop Tank so far until that win. So great job by him. A couple of guys getting on me about that one. Adam Frank says, should Red Bull begin sponsoring billiards? Absolutely. I think any big company that wanted to could own pool. And I think Red Bull would be a great one. They already you could see that they're willing to dump advertising money into things. I mean, I believe they are the title sponsor for maybe like the PBR or something like that. I don't know. I feel like I've seen them being a sponsor for a lot of athletic endeavors. So yeah, and that'll be an email that I'm writing at some point for sure. John Cole, what's your thoughts on a shot clock for the Friday night tournament? Oh, you're setting me up here, man. I don't want to pick on anybody. The Friday night tournament this week did not go well as far as timing goes, we'll say. But I don't think a shot clock's the answer. I don't think there's any way to enforce a shot clock, at least to the technology that we have now, when there's 8 tables. The only thing we could do is maybe like once a match goes over the hour mark, then we enforce a shot clock so that you wouldn't have to do it on every table. I don't know. I've thought about it a lot. I've thought about, when a match goes over an hour mark, you make it like sudden death. Obviously you can't, like, say a guy's leading 4-2, it has to be a race to 5 still, even if you make it sudden death. But like if it's 3-3, yeah, at the end of that rack, maybe you make it a race to 4. I don't know. I've thought about this a lot. It's a problem that comes up from time to time. Like, there's just enough time to finish a 32-player bracket at Friday night, starting at 7:30 and having to be out by 2. There's enough time to get down to 2 players. And I pretty much know if I have a full field on Friday night, I know that it's going to be a 2-way chop at the end. But that's the goal, is to make it a 2-way chop. We don't want 3-way chops. We don't want any kind of a chop when there's only 23 players there. So it's something that I have to continue to think about. I'll take feedback from anybody else on that. But I think the bigger deal is some of the time wasted in between matches. The thing is, if you're maybe not as an individual, but if you are a player in the match that is in the section of the bracket that is lagging behind, you don't get any time in between your matches. And it's a Friday night tournament. It's not the US Open. We don't have match scheduling, and it's not going to happen that way. So if I'm waiting on your section of the bracket, and then, listen, I've done this a lot. I've done this a ton in the last several years, and I know what it takes to get through a bracket in a timely fashion. And if I say you're behind, you're behind. So I don't know. I'll continue to think about it. Hopefully it isn't an issue again anytime soon, but unfortunately that happens. Adam Frank, do you feel being on film does in fact affect a shooter's play? Absolutely, 100%. No doubt about it. You can't say otherwise, because I've seen it too many times from every caliber of player. I've seen it from experienced players with the live stream. I've seen it with inexperienced players with the live stream. Doesn't matter. It affects you. It's just a matter of learning to deal with it. And sometimes the nerves that you're feeling don't even go away. You just have to learn to deal with them and perform with them. It's a huge deal. Mark White says, hi from Mexico. What's up, buddy? I don't know if you're still watching, but you were on earlier. Good to hear from you. Hope you are, I think you're about to make your way over to Las Vegas. Safe travels, buddy. It'll thrill me when I see you on American soil in Las Vegas doing what you love. I know you've worked really hard to get there, so shout out to you, sir. Adam Frank, what do you feel is more important in Scotch doubles? Personality mesh, shooting styles, or similar skill set level? So I'll address all 3 of those, but I don't think any of those 3 are the most important thing. I think the most important thing in Scotch doubles is being a good teammate. I think being able to channel any negativity you're feeling towards yourself or your teammate, you have to figure out a way to internalize it. If you in any way outwardly display your disdain for the way the match is going, for the way you're playing, for the way your teammate is playing, you are setting yourself up for a big time downward spiral. There is nothing in pool like the pressure that is automatically applied to a teammate when you outwardly display your displeasure with what they are doing or what they have done. Nothing equivalent to that. So the other 3 things you mentioned, personality mesh, that's important. Fast and slow is important. It's hard enough to get into a rhythm anyways playing Scotch doubles, so I don't think you really want too much contrasting styles in that regard. But beyond that, personality, like if one guy's like needs everything to be like a church mouse and the other guy's talkative, wants to be chatting it up with the other team while his buddy's still at the table shooting, I mean, you have to be on the same page with that. Shooting styles, I think that's the least important of the things that you mentioned. I think guys talk about it all the time, like where do you want to be? Do you prefer this back cut or do you prefer to be shooting into the rail? I think that is the least important thing, and I think it's the most talked, overworked thing in Scotch doubles. I think more harm is done by thinking about where your teammate wants to be on a specific shot than good comes from it. So this is all advice I would give to somebody trying to play good Scotch doubles. And then similar skill level, skill set. I don't think similar skill set is important, but I think certainly an understanding of your teammate's skill set is extremely important. So I would say all of those things for sure, with the shooting style being at the very bottom of the list for me. Brian Kilgore says heads or tails, always heads. And the left coin. That's all of the comments that I see here, guys. Let me refresh one more time on here, make sure I'm not missing anybody. I see one more from Brian Kilgore. How do you feel about changing races in the middle of an event if needed? I've had to do it, and it's a tough spot as a tournament director. I actually did the last match of the night, this last Friday, I did have to do that. We had 4 players left. We had like almost no time, and I had to make it a race to 3 instead of 4 for that match. Hate to do it, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I think that's one of the most important things as a tournament director is you have to have the testicular fortitude, for lack of a better expression, to be able to do the hard things when it's called for. Forfeit a player that's being ridiculous or not respecting the timing of the tournament, shorten a race. Even though in your mind you allotted for enough time for the races to be what they were. Not everything always goes according to plan, then you have to be able to adjust on the fly. I think that it sucks when you have to change the races like that. One thing that I'll say, I did this Friday night, and normally it's worked out for me in the past, but one thing I will do, like I always advertise my Friday night tournament as race to 5, race to 3. I make it race to 4 on the B side whenever I can, if the field's small enough. But sometimes you're like right on the line. So what I've done in the past that's worked well, and something that I think people should consider, is if people don't like that race to 3 on the B side, consider doing race to 3 for a round or 2, and then extending it back out to 4 for the money or for the last 16 or whatever. That's worked well for me in the past. Although this Friday, nothing really went well. But I think it's better to make the races shorter in the first place than have to do it later, for sure. So that's something to consider. I think that might be it, guys. Not really seeing anything else here. These are great questions, guys. I've had a blast doing this. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. Maybe we'll do this again whenever I don't have a guest on the show. This has been a blast, guys. We've been live for a considerable amount of time here, just over an hour now, almost an hour and 10 minutes. So thank you so much for being with me, guys. You've been watching The Sweat Podcast. This is episode 6. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'm Jeremy. Have a good night.